like there really has been no neutral opinions when it comes to the NFL coaches getting the NFL former NFL players getting opportunities. Like everybody opinion has either been they love it or they hate it. I don't have a true opinion on it because my opinion is biased, because I look at it like I'm a person who people speak about that quote unquote deserves, and I'm not big on using the word deserve, to be honest with you. I feel like you get what you earn, so to me, I have a 7-year-old. In his mind, he deserves certain things, and I'm trying to teach him, hey, trying to put some things in place where, hey, you're going to earn these things. Like certain times I'm going to give you things, but certain times you're going to have to earn some of these things that you want. So I don't look at it like, oh, somebody took an opportunity that I deserved, and so on and so forth. All I was saying was, if you are a coach that's in my position, or, a lifelong HBCU coach or a lifelong college coach, period, and you feel as though, these guys are skipping the line, or, they're moving the goalposts in terms of, what's required to be a coach, and so on and so forth.
They are.
My thing with that is, if they come in and Delaware State and Norfolk State are 1 and 2 in the conference this year, then who's right?
Coach, I want to stop you right there, Coach. I want to stop you right there. The reason why we're experiencing this is because the coaches in 2020, 2020, 2021, and 2022 could have stopped all of this. They could have stopped it all.
That's true.
But they didn't.
True. Exactly. So that's why I was saying, like, what's the point of getting up in arms when we have the opportunity to line our teams up against these guys and show that, hey, we can coach. And that's what I plan to do. I plan on using that. I plan on using that opportunity as a platform to show, hey, guess what? Those guys are great at what they do, but I'm on this other sideline and I'm pretty good at what. That's it. You only had. Hold on for a second.
Let me step in while he fatherhood. Are you speaking of Deion Sanders again?
You talking to me?
Sanders, no, I'm talking to Rocky. Is he speaking that time Deion Sanders came in and won the championship?
You forgot that.
Yeah, Coach, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So, Coach, it ain't like those coaches were given 21 points. It wasn't like Deion was given 21 points when the game started.
No doubt.
It ain't like he was given 14 points when the game started. All the games started 0-0.
Right. I'm gonna give you that one. I ain't gonna say no.
Wait.
But go ahead, Coach.
That's real though.
Coach Sewell, listen, I'm not gonna let him. We're not talking about prime. We talking about the people in your conference because they're not Deion. Let's get back to.
And let me tell you what. Two seconds.
But his point.
So Coach Sewell, hold on one second. See, Coach Rocky Miller, he a PWI guy. He's a businessman.
He's a prime man.
And then we got the historian Rocky, and I'm the coach. So that's why he on here to go ahead, Coach Sewell. You got the floor.
But his point kind of ties into what I was saying. If we allow these guys to come in, and again, and it may happen. I'm looking. I got one. I got one eye pointed in the direction of them and their social media. And I'm seeing what they're doing from a coaching staff standpoint and from a recruiting standpoint. I think those guys are going to field competitive teams. I don't doubt that at all. However, I look at it like, in order for me, because the thing about it is the light is now going to be shined brighter on the MEAC. So now if Anton Sewell believes that, he's a good football coach and, this bright defensive mind and all those kind of things, and some other people in the HBCU world may feel like that. Okay, now when you have some people that are outside of that world who are now looking in on what we're doing, now that's the opportunity for me and some of the other coaches within our conference and within the HBCU world to show, hey, they do have some pretty good coaches there.
Well, Coach, so you as on that staff, and you see this, and again, you're very outspoken on social media. Does your head coach, when you kind of...
Oh, I get calls to the principal's office all the time. You only have to finish the question. I get calls to the principal's office all the time. But the thing is, what I've learned in this profession, like, it's almost like any good friendship or relationship. You have to have balance. You know, Coach Wilson is he's not, again, Coach, there's a reason why the Texas Southern and Prairie View rivalry was so good when Johnnie Cole and Coach Frazier was there, because Johnnie Cole say something, Coach Frazier gonna say something back. Yeah. You know, Coach Wilson, he does not get caught up in all that. Like, he is very much he's an even keel, cool, calm, collected guy. I'm the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, I am, and I'm not gonna be disrespectful to nobody, anything like that. But if you want smoke, I'm fine with that. You know, I just have to, you know, I make sure that everybody understands that, yes, I'm a coach at Morgan State, but I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody except for myself. And I'm not being disrespectful or rude to anybody. I'm just speaking my truth and how I feel on certain situations. And I think that, to me, that's the beauty of social media, is it allows you to tell your story and give your opinion on certain things without crossing the line. Again, if I ever do anything that I think crosses the line, or coach tells me, hey, you probably shouldn't say this, I have no problem accepting that as a man and apologizing and growing from that and moving forward. But if I feel some type of way about something, again, I don't tweet from emotions. I gather my thoughts and I share my opinion and I move forward from it. And the funny part, like, the people that know me, they laugh because they know I say stuff and I move on way before other people do. Like, I've tweeted stuff and I go back 3-4 days later and people are still talking about it. I'm like, bro, like we on something new at this point. Like I said what I said and I'm done with it. Because for the most part, it's, again, I don't speak from impulse or emotion. So when I say something, it's been well thought out, and it's gonna be very, very hard for you to change my opinion.
But let me say this, Coach Sewell. I like what you said, Coach. I like what you said because you didn't disparage those men. You didn't even undermine or discount their abilities and your talents, right? You said it's not going, just do your work, grind, because it ain't easy. And just because you had a long career in the NFL ain't gonna make Saturdays no easier for you each and every Saturday this fall. I think that's fair. Coach Cole, hold on. Let me say something, Coach Cole. Let me say one more thing. Coach Cole told me this, Coach Sewell, when I first started talking to him on the phone. He said, Rocky, only 25% of all coaches are winners. Do you agree with that, Coach Sewell?
Yeah, that's real. It's not a lot. And again, man, I know I have to be careful. There aren't as many good coaches as people think there are. There are more successful coaches than there are good coaches. I'm just being real.
Look at Coach Frazier. He go from one conference, win a championship, go to another conference and win a championship, go to another school and win a championship. All them other coaches was in the CIAA, they been there. He coming there, championship.
Coach, you know I want you to break that down. Tell the people the difference between a successful coach and a good coach. We got a lot of Madden players on here that don't understand what you just said. Explain the difference, because there's a big difference what you just said.
Yeah, because to me, you can have success, and your success could be based off of, circumstance. Your success could be based off of, hey, you were like, there are some people who they take jobs and they start on third base. There's some people who step into the batter's box and they already, now I ain't a great baseball guy, but it's all, I don't know if it's 2-0 or 0-2, whatever, but they have no balls and 2 strikes when they step up to the plate. And they have to find their way on base and find their way around by really, 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 getting down and dirty and grinding and building something from nothing. And again, that's not to say that that's no fault of the person who who had a head start on things, but sometimes we get caught up in and that's something that even we've had to learn coming from Bowie to here. Because of what we did at Bowie, don't mean we're gonna walk into Morgan and do everything the exact same way we did at Bowie and we're gonna have success. We've had to learn and navigate our way through a completely different environment in a new conference, at the FCS level and so on and so forth, and tweak our formulas and be flexible and listen to other guys on our staff who may not have been with us at during our time at Bowie. So it to me, when you talk about a good coach, to me a good coach can work with lesser talent, less resources, maybe not an area that or maybe not be in an area that's as fertile and rich when it comes to talent, and still be able to put a product on the field. I'll never ever forget talking to a guy. It was one of our competitors during our time at Bowie, and we played Delta State in the playoffs. And he was a brother, so it wasn't like I didn't take it as a backhanded comment because it wasn't a white coach telling me something that almost was like patronizing me. It was a brother. It was one of the brothers they had on the staff, and he came to me after the game and he said, "Bro," he said, "I've been here for a while, and we've obviously faced some HBCUs during our time here, and a lot of times it has been just kind of like almost like backyard type football." He said, "Man," he said, "I told our coaches the very first day we watched our film," he said, "these coaches know what they're doing." And he said, one of the guys looked at me and he said, "Every play I watch, whether it's executed correctly or not, I can at least tell what you guys are trying to do. Like there's rhyme or reason with everything that you're trying to do. You're not just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing if it sticks." And to me, that's why I consider myself as a good coach, because I'm coaching from logic and using ration when I'm coaching. I'm not just coaching off emotion. It's not just like, oh my God, they got 2 first downs. Let me just blitz the whole house, knowing I don't have 4 DBs that can cover. It's not like, again, if you look at kind of our track record at Bowie, and even what we've done now at Morgan, if you look at our schedule, we are forced to play some of the top teams in FCS football every year, because the MEAC only has 5 teams, and from a proximity standpoint, the closest teams to us, FCS, are what? CAA teams. If you take away the conference that has North Dakota State and all those guys in it, which conference has the next most teams in the playoffs every year? The CAA. So we've got to go play Richmond and Stony Brook and Towson and Delaware and these teams every single year. So we get tested every single year. And even though we have not been beating those guys consistently, we're always competitive with these teams every single year. When we go play Ohio this past year, we held Ohio to their lowest point total of the whole year. Ohio University won the MAC championship last year. So again, I think that we have shown as a staff that we are able to, for one, acquire talent, but also to be able to maximize that talent when you get those guys within your program. And I think that's what good coaches do. But that's not to say, now again, I ain't hating. I don't think the guys that win championships because they have more or they're giving more, I don't think they care whether or not I say they're a good coach or not. I think they look at them rings and them trophies and they consider themselves good coaches, and I ain't mad at them for that.
But coach, I have this description that I give some coaches, and I call them trust fund coaches, meaning that they roll into situations that are already set up for success, right? And then there are other coaches that roll into situations that they fighting from the bottom up. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning that, and it seems that a lot of times coaches are generally all judged the same, but I'm glad that you brought up the nuance between not all jobs are equal, not all coaching opportunities are equal. So, Coach, let me ask you this here, because I'm gonna say this. 4 coaches have come on this show unemployed, and 4 of them currently are head coaches on Division I programs right now. I'm not saying it that we had anything to do with.
So you saying there's no correlation between the two?
I don't know. Coach Cole books the interviews. You know, we ask the questions. That's how it works. So I don't know. But this is what I say, Coach. Do you have a preference of a coaching job when you go to it? Would you rather have a trust fund job, or would you rather build something from the ground up?
Oh, no, I don't have a preference. No, I'm not. My aunt, I was raised by my 2 grandmothers and my aunts. And my aunt would always tell me beggars can't be choosers. and that saying has stuck with me for my entire life. And I'm not saying I'm begging. I think I'm in a great situation. Like I said, I get to work for a guy that really believes in me, and you know, I don't have to look over my shoulder every time we give up 30 points and think that my job is on the line. I get to raise my son. I get to take my son to school and pick him up from school and take him to football practice and basketball practice pretty much every day. So I'm not running to a job. I think a lot of people are more disappointed than I am every offseason when they don't hear my name being mentioned as a finalist or a candidate for a job. I'm good. I believe that what God has for me is going to be. When my time comes, I do plan on making the most of my opportunity when my time does come, but I'm not in a situation where I'm going to say, hey, I want to have this job with these things in place, so on and so forth. Now, I'm smart enough and I have enough smart people around me where if I am presented with an opportunity or, you know, the potential of an opportunity, I'm going to make sure that it is something where I feel as though I can have success. And I think that's important to say, because what some people consider a good job may not be a good job for you. You know, if you talk about, you know, certain things like regional ties and, you know, alumni support and those kind of things, so different people need different things. You know, some people are able to go out and acquire all the things they need on their own. And some people need to have, you know, kind of things laid out for them and already in place where they can come in and just, you know, and just coach, you know, per se, just do X's and O's and, you know, run staff meetings and those kind of things, where you have some other people who just say, hey, just give me a job and I'll make the most of it. You know, I believe I could be successful in either one of those situations, so I don't necessarily have a preference.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm educated, damn it. And I don't vision that somebody gives a CEO job away to somebody that don't know what they're doing. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. But I believe that good coaches have what you call a system, and a system way of doing it. And anywhere he go, he puts his system together and he tweaks it. I feel that Coach Frazier has a system. I think Coach Wilson has a system. I think Trey Oliver has a system. I think Chinnis Berry has a systematic way that he does stuff. It just don't happen.
We learned that the hard way.
And years and years of studying. It ain't about whether I'm a good coach or not. Nick Saban, who I hate to compare us to those big time schools, he has a system. You can't tell me that Oregon don't have a better weight program and uniforms and shit, and University of Texas got more money than anybody in the fucking world for their program, Texas A&M, and Nick Saban beat these people year in and year out.
He had the best players, Coach. He had the best players. He had the best players.
Well,
let me be fair about it. Let me be fair.
That's from a pure, because when you look at the draft,
He developed the best players.
And that don't mean you got good players. I think that what Nick Saban and the difference between Nick Saban and the rest of the cats is he get them right here. And it's big in his system that he get his kids right here to sell them and make them understand that whether you catching 1,000 yards and 50 passes, but I'm gonna let you catch 500 yards and 20 passes, and you're gonna be playing at the end of the year. And I think they know how to. Good coaches, your Frazier's, your LC's, your Broadways, your Pete Richardsons, your Bill Hayeses, they got a way of a systematic way that they run their program that anywhere they go. Bill Hayes won in Winston-Salem. He won in North Carolina A&T. You know what I'm saying? Pete Richardson, again, won in Winston-Salem. He won in Southern. L.C. Cole won in Tennessee State, Alabama State. Rob Broadway won in North Carolina State. He won in Grambling. He won in North Carolina A&T. Same system. It's the systematic way of doing things. And Rocky, I'm going to take one out your book. You dug back and say, Cole, look at the swag. In the last 20 years, they got all new different coaches. All new different coaches. And not one of them today have won a championship.
Yeah, Coach.
Very wrong, Coach. Well, let me take that back. One of them had to win it because, somebody had to win.
Coach Cole has got in a lot of hot water, Coach Sewell, because he mentioned
No way.
Yeah. Because he mentioned that a coach was the best of the worst, right? Now, I believe that Coach Cole didn't mean it to be disrespectful. He was just saying in the league where everyone's a first-year coach, right? And none of those schools beat the other division very much, that league or that division was just not very as competitive, and there's some proving that needs to be done. But the coach took it personal. I'm going to ask you, Coach Sewell, if you won a division as a first-year coach amongst all first-year coaches and you got blew out by the championship team twice,
and
how would you take?
Had a winning record besides you. Go ahead, Cole. I want to add that. I'm sorry.
All right, I'm not going to. First of all, let me just say this: I have no idea who the coach is. I don't know the league or anything. So whoever this coach is, I don't know who you are. So don't get mad at me. I'm just answering the question. First of all, me personally, again, and it may sound cliche. I don't care a lot what a lot of people think about me. So that's why, as I said before, to me, if you're a successful coach, I don't think you should be worried if people think you're a good coach or not. At the end of the day, you have tangible results that show that you had a successful season. If you have a trophy, if you have a ring, that says that you had a successful season. So if someone says something about you not being a good coach and you take offense to it, in my opinion, you're giving that person, like, you're proving that person right. You're showing them that you may have some type of insecurity within yourself to allow that to get to you. Because you can't be, and again, I love and respect Coach Cole as well, but you can't sit on a show and talk about me and me winning as a coach and me allow it to bother me. And that's just me personally. I would not allow that to bother me at all. Or I would simply say, hey, when you get back in the game, you come see me. And then we can see if I'm a good coach or not. When you and I line up against each other, when our teams line up against each other, we'll see if I'm a good coach or not. Until then, I'm gonna keep winning. But if I get into it where no, and Now,
I like the way you talk, Coach. Yeah, I like the way you talk.
Because now, as soon as I engage or I show any type of emotion or feelings about what you said or how you feel about me, now, like I've stripped away everything that I worked for to accomplish. Because at the end of the day, like you said, like it may be, I mean, I don't remember the exact scenario that you gave, but whatever the case may be, if I came out on top, ain't my fault. And I'm not ashamed to say this. I don't care if we got our head kicked in on Sunday. I'm a Washington Commanders fan. Been that way since I was a kid. Since they were the Redskins.
I feel sorry for you, Coach, but go ahead.
It's okay. It's okay. And people will always say, well, one of y'all rings don't count because it was a strike year. So
I don't say that.
They played the games, didn't they? If the games were played, now if you say
and y'all beat our Cowboys with a strike team.
Yeah, you're right. And y'all had real players. See? So, but I say that to say, how can if the games are played and the results are counted, I could care less looking back on what type of caveats and what stipulations you put on what we did. We played the people that were in front of us and we won. Now, if you want to call that the best, if you want to call it the best of the worst, the key word, I'm gonna stop listening after you say best.
let me say this in defense of myself is that I'm on a show that I am pushing African American guys, HBCU guys as well. But to make the show legit, to me, is to tell the truth the way I see it. And it definitely was nothing personal. And I think in the content of what we were talking about of grading coaches and seeing where everybody were, speaking of that side, that side wasn't doing very well and haven't been doing very well. Then here come a guy comes in his first year, and win it. It says a lot about him. and it says a lot about the statement I made. Man, this side that hadn't been doing well at all, and you come in and you win it. Unfortunately, don't be upset at me, be upset at them. Maybe they need to get off their butt and start winning some football games. So I think that it's my duty, not only, to be candid sometimes, when you're talking about, one of the things we talk about, Sewell, on here, and you can attest to this, that the PWIs, they beat the black schools all the time. Coach called them the whites and the blacks. So they my 40 years being around black colleges, I would hate to see the record. You know what I'm saying? It'd be lopsided. Now, am I putting down black coaches? You know what I mean? I'm just sitting here telling the truth and saying how it is and how it's been. You know what I mean? Are we getting better? Yes, we getting better. Does that make them better than us? Not necessarily, no. Because then there's a lot of other things that goes into them having advantages over us. You know what I'm saying? Like money and funds and support. But I got to say it like it is. And me saying it like it is, not saying that Broadway's not a good coach. LC's not a good coach. Doug Williams not a good coach. Henry Frazier, I'm not saying that. Or Trey Oliver is not a good coach. When we make that statement. And Rocky, you make that statement all the time, right? Yeah. I never once take offense to that because it's true. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, Coach Sewell, it is what it is. I know what I'm doing. I know what's important to me. I don't get involved with what somebody say about me. I don't really, especially when it comes down.
One of the things that I, this is kind of pivoting. One of the things that I thought was pretty remarkable for you guys, I want to say either the first or the second year you guys were there, Coach Sewell, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't y'all upset a CAA school or play them close or something like that when y'all got there? Shortly after y'all got there? I don't have
we beat University of Richmond.
Yeah.
First game of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like those kind of, to me, those kind of wins are benchmark wins for your program, in my opinion. Not because it's a white school, because of what the school has been in FCS football. I'll just put it like that. You know, that same school would later beat North Carolina Central in the playoffs, wouldn't it?
Yep, they sure did.
Handedly.
Well, Coach, man,
that was. I think Central was battling them before Davies got hurt. I mean, and listen, I coached against that kid for 2 years. I think we all know the impact of him being injured, but you don't really understand until you see bro in person. Like, and I like, that's what when you, and I use that term because when you playing against him, he do some stuff that make you be like, bruh, like, are you serious? Like you can have the perfect play call. I would never forget our first year, and I don't mean to get off topic, but I would never
go ahead, Coach.
My first year down there, they beat us 59-20 my first year here. And we had scouted them, and we knew it was 100% when they got into this one formation, almost like, again, like how the Commanders kept going for it on fourth down, and they were finding different ways to just run Jaden Daniels on fourth and short. You knew when Central got into this formation, they were going quarterback run. And so we overloaded the side. I'll never forget. We had two dudes free off the edge. Man, he shrugged one off, shook the other dude, and went 60 yards for a touchdown. And at that point, I knew before they played Jackson in the Celebration Bowl, I told all my friends and all my former teammates in the group chat, oh man, Jackson, I said, let me tell y'all something. I said, until y'all see this quarterback from North Carolina Central, y'all don't place no bets. Don't say until you see this dude play, do not assume anything. Like, that kid is really, really special. So I say that to say, like, I don't think Richmond was 2-3 touchdowns better than Central if he plays the whole game.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, man, I know you got to get back to your kid. I know,
man. No, my man.
Time. And is he sleep, Coach? Yeah. Coach, we don't have several of those also. Remember, Coach Keaton?
Yeah. He
Wait. Listen, this is Coach's Corner. Now, Coach, before I let you go, now hold on. Because like I said, hey man, you stand on business out there on the social media. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm a big fan of you. Like I said, we have interacted. What is it going to take for you all to be MEAC champions next year?
He's setting you up, Coach.
Just being more consistent. Yeah, just honestly, just being more consistent. We had an opportunity. We had an opportunity in 23, the second year. If we beat Howard, we would have tied for the conference. We had an opportunity last year with South Carolina State coming into our place, where we controlled our own destiny to be tied for the conference again. And we have not met the challenge of those big games yet in conference. And that's something that I'm not a believer. And you know how you hear sometimes in coaching, people say, you know, a team spends their whole offseason preparing to beat one team. I'm not a believer in that. I think the conference is going to be much better this year. Obviously, like I said, with the addition of Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson, because I think that's going to naturally attract a different level of talent to those two universities. So I don't think we can go into it with the mindset of, hey, we got to beat Central. We had to beat everybody. In the MEAC, the schedule is so short, you can't afford to drop a game and think that you're gonna still, have a chance. And I hate scoreboard watching. So I'm not gonna give you a coach's corner answer. I apologize for that because, again, I get called into the principal's office a lot. So I'm not gonna make a prediction. But in terms of what we need to do, we gotta be more consistent. We just started our off-season program. These first few days have been great. You can really tell that the buy-in is different. You got some younger guys who are ready to step up and assume some bigger roles. I think that we'll be better up front on both sides of the ball. I know we're much bigger up front on both sides of the ball, which I know, goes a long way. For us as a coaching staff, we got to do a better job of building depth and quality depth. I think that, last year, for me personally, we lost a lot of guys in the secondary, and I made the mistake of adjusting what our standard was from a secondary play standpoint, and we ended up being much below what we should have been in terms of quality and production in the secondary. So I say all that to say, if we are consistent in what we do and what our message is, and what we determine is our standard, I think that'll go a long way in terms of what our success is this season. I think we're gonna have a very, very talented team. I think we'll be talented in every area. I think that we have gotten to the point where we've acquired enough talent to say, hey, we're good at pretty much every position. Now it's about building depth and just being consistent and finding those guys that are going to be leaders and help carry us through some of those bigger games that we'll face.
Hey, Coach Sewell, I got a question for you, because this is something that's puzzled me since I've been watching FCS football, mainly the last 2 years, right? You would think that in the portal, in the transfer portal, the guys coming down from FBS to FCS would have a greater impact than the guys coming from D2 to FCS. But in just my observation, that's not been the case. The guys coming from D2 to FCS has made a greater impact and a greater contribution than the guys coming down. The guys coming up from D2 have made a greater impact than the guys coming down. Am I looking at it wrong, or am I missing something in that assessment?
We actually have our operations / recruiting person, Gerald Huggins. I'm sure you guys probably familiar with Gerald. He does draft HBCU. Yep. He was doing that, kind of full time before he joined our staff recently. He actually did some in-depth studies on that. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but just from the naked eye, when you look at it, a lot of the guys that come from, when you look at just the headlines, right? When the guys drop down from FBS to FCS, what do the headlines say? Former 3-star, former 4-star, former. When the guys are coming up from D2, what does it say? All CIAA player, all SIC player. So you still talking production versus potential. So a lot of the D2 kids have played college football for 2 and 3 years already. Whereas though a lot of the FBS drop downs are guys that were practice players on that level, and you're hoping that when they come down a level, that they'll be able to rekindle and recapture some of that glory and success that they had in high school or earlier in college. The unique thing, and when you talk about going back to to Dion during his time at Jackson State, he had the cachet to be able to go and get guys that played at the FBS level to come to Jackson State. So he wasn't just banking on guys that, I hope this kid can be something. He was going to get guys that actually had snaps on that level, and you can pop in game film with them playing on that level. Coach Simmons was able to do similar during his time at FAMU. What I think a lot of us have tried to do unsuccessfully is we're going to get guys based on a name and based on a high school rating, and hoping that's going to translate. Well, for one, from a skill player standpoint, ain't much difference between FBS and FCS. You may have a guy that's 6'1" versus 5'11", but his ability ain't much higher. His level of ability ain't much higher than his counterpart at the FCS level. The O-line is where it can get, but if you look at, again, I hate to use the word, the market for transfers, you not any O lineman that played that going to transfer portal are going up. So when we're getting O linemen that are dropping down to us from the FBS level, they're still projects. And you still have to coach and develop those guys. But a lot of times the D2 guys are coming in for one, they have a chip on their shoulder. Whereas though the FBS drop down guys, sometimes they kind of look down at their nose at some of the guys when they come into the room, because in their mind, when you came to Morgan out of high school, I went to Maryland out of high school. You know, it's so you kind of have that sense of entitlement versus a guy that's coming in with a chip on his shoulder that's ready to grind. But to me, the simple answer is you're getting guys that have produced on the college level already versus a guy who has the potential to be something on the college level.
So in other words, you're saying the D2 guys coming with a resume.
Yes, sir.
And that resume oftentimes is more of an indication than some projection that guy had maybe at coming out of high school or something like that. Okay, I got you. That makes sense. You know, and it's similar to what Coach Cole said. Coach Cole summed it up is the guy on D2 is just hungrier. He just got more on the line than the guy coming down. And and that's simple. But I see it because it doesn't matter from the D2 guy. Sometimes the D2 guy has measurables. Sometimes the D2 guy is much smaller. But when it's been consistent is the production has been consistent with those guys coming up. Especially in the case of you know, who you're familiar with probably is South Carolina State bringing those guys up and those guys being productive at that level.
I'll say this. I kind of felt that's why you were asking. To me, the biggest thing, and it's not to take away from any of those guys. Like some of those guys were really talented, but to me, the biggest thing, man, is you could clearly see even from watching them from the time they got off the bus to warm-ups and everything, they basically took their culture and moved it from Benedict to South Carolina State. It wasn't necessarily, in my opinion, it wasn't necessarily that they were the most talented team in our conference. I think North Carolina Central was probably still the most talented team that we played in conference all year. But you could tell that, like, we came out the very first drive. I want to say we got 3-0 against South Carolina State on the first drive. And you look and you could tell, like, it didn't, their confidence, their swagger, whatever you want to call it, it didn't waver at all. And you never saw any type of division or anything amongst those guys. You can tell they look like a team that had been together for multiple years, which when you look at the core of that team, a lot of those guys had been. And that makes it much easier when you're coming in trying to sell kids on something when you have other kids in the room who are also selling and pushing that same message. So now as a coach, I say something one time, and the next time that happens, one of my kids is stepping up saying the same thing because they already believe in what I'm selling.
Oh, that makes sense, Coach. Coach, you got anything before we let Coach Sewell?
Oh man, you've developed into the guy, into the man, into the coach that I thought you would. From the first time I met you, I know it wasn't on. Well, it was a good time because we was about to face each other for 60 minutes. So I write it off and charge it to your head and not your heart. But you are the guy that I thought you would be. Hopefully, man, this show and you keep doing the work that you're doing. We'll be bringing you on or showing up at your spring game one day. I look forward to that day to come. Keep working hard, and I appreciate your time and appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys as well, man. And like I said, anytime as Mr. Campbell stated so eloquently earlier, I'm not a man who misses words. So if y'all want me to come back on the show anytime, I'm always down to talk ball whether it's X's and O's or whether it's culture, whatever it is, man. This is what I do. Football is something I'm very passionate about, and especially HBCU football. And I love the fact that we have so many different platforms to kind of talk about what we do. Talk about what we do and really kind of give people some insight onto the things that we do. So like I said, anytime I'm free, I see my boy Coach Ryland from Virginia Union just chimed in. Anytime I'm able to, like I said, come in and join you guys and just, chop it up with you, man. It's been more than a pleasure, and I look forward to hopefully doing it again in the future.
Yeah, and I still want to bring coaches on, Coach Sewell. So if some guys are interested, man, it just opens up my Rolodex as well. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And that's because we don't have a platform. We don't have one where we can come out and people can see who Coach Sewell is and how he thinks, how he feels, what direction he wants to go. So I think it's important, man. And I ain't gonna be right all the time, Coach. But again, man, I appreciate your time and effort. It look like you got another little coach coming up there. So
yes.
see, Rocky, we got to make room for him, man.
Oh
yeah.
I see nepotism ain't dead. So
no doubt. Hey, listen, and when they say you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we got to get him in the NFL, then, Coach.
Yes, indeed. That's the plan. And well, you know what? He might be NBA. He a little hoop star right now. So whatever it is, I'm just anything he want to try. We just gonna throw it against the wall and see what sticks.
Hey, Coach, we'll accept him at FAMU because I know you love FAMU so much. So we'll bring him down to FAMU, okay?
You know what?
Hey man, I know you love FAMU so much.
Hey, I ain't got no beef with FAMU. I'm just I ride for my people, man. I love FAMU. I would really love, an opportunity to. That's the one thing I was looking forward to when I took the Alabama State job is, getting to go up against my guy Willie Simmons and getting to face Coach Prime and those kind of guys. But I said God saw fit for me to be back here and be closer to my son. So maybe one day we'll meet up and I'll allow you guys to feed me good at your tailgate even after we beat y'all.
We'll definitely, hey, Coach, we'll talk about it on Twitter.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, Coach.
All right. That was a good one. That was a good one, Coach. Coach, you know him, Coach. If they worked anything, you know him, Coach. Hey, before we get out of here, I want y'all to look at this here. Campbell set this up for us today, and I wanted to tell me what you think about Alcorn States. And I did say Alcorn State, Alcorn, no husk. That's what they say. I don't know what that means, but that's what they say.
They opened up with a rebuild of Western State. They got Alabama A&M is non-league. Oh, okay, that's right, because they're on the other side. That'll be a test for Sam Shade. Mississippi State is the money game. Arkansas Pine Bluff, man, he should be able to get Pine Bluff. Prairie View is going to be a big test for Tremaine because Tremaine about has some games up under him, and we're going to really see how good, Coach Jackson has done with that program. That's going to be I think that's the test right there, Coach. Of course, Lincoln to California, that's the cakewalk.
They're on their homecoming tour.
Yeah. They'd have been play 3 homecomings by then.
Hey, they get to see every homecoming in the SWAC, don't they?
Right. Florida A&M, that's a big one. Valley State, Coach, he could be, let me see, out of the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. Sheesh. Northwestern, I could give him. A&M, he should beat, right? New coach, second game of the year.
I don't understand why that. I mean, I don't want to bog this down because I do want to. Because it's before we get off, we got to talk about Coach Buckley and a couple other things. But I don't understand why they made that out of scheduling. Why Alabama? That's not even a traditional rival for them. So I don't understand why that game. They out of all the teams,
Alcorn and A&M.
Yeah, I don't understand that game. I don't understand that game. And to me, it's like I would have tried to reach out to a Tennessee. I mean, if I'm going to do that, I would have tried to reach out to a Tennessee State. See if I could play that game in Memphis. To me, that's just when I saw that, that's the one that stuck out to me the most. And also that back end, they're playing basically all their rivals: Southern, Grambling, Jackson State. So that is going to be interesting on that back. And then they come to FAMU in 10-18. And we haven't played Alcorn, I think, since 1981 or something like that. So I'm super excited for them to come to Tallahassee and, and see the Braves come to Tallahassee.
Well, all them the counters. You got Pine Bluff, Prairie View, Florida A&M, Valley, Texas Southern, Grambling, Jackson State. Yeah, they got to get ready to play, Coach.
Potentially – they may not win a game in November.
Listen. I'm gonna tell you something. They could listen. That thing starting at FAMU all the way down could get ugly.
Alcorn is a team to beat over in the West.
No,
he had his first year. Let's give him his first year. Let's give him his flowers. He was on his honeymoon, and maybe he'll come back strong. But we can't stop it tonight, though.
No, they gotta play the game. So
anybody calling, Coach?
No. We'll take three. We'll take three. I'll paste it up and we'll take three.
Yeah, Rocky got to get his birthday dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
No, you good.
But Coach, let's talk about this before you get off because it's important. We got Terrell Buckley, NFL player, college All-American, Florida State, came out to Dion, basically took that primetime persona from there, kept it going. What do you think? And somebody who actually has coached, has paid his dues as a coach on several levels.
Not at the HBCU level.
Not at the HBCU level, but because this is very important. I want to say who has coached professionally, has coached. What do you think about the coaching
in Mississippi?
Hire? Yep. What do you think about the coaching hire Terrell Buckley at Mississippi Valley?
He was he's a head coach in the XFL.
Yep.
And he didn't do well his first year, and it was the first year that he was having the league. So you really can't. And in that league in the XFL, you were able to go out and find your players. Did y'all know that?
Yeah.
So the coaches and the coordinators that they were able to travel around the country and find their players.
They were the scouting department as well.
Right. Matter of fact, I went to one when it was in Arizona. All the teams came out here to Arizona, and they worked the players out. So they were having these trials all over the country. And so him and the coordinator was able to choose the players. And unfortunately, they didn't do well at all. But, I think it was, it's a good choice for what they can pay and who he is. And I think you get both sides of it. You get the celebrity, Terrell Buckley, former NFL player. You also get a guy that's been a head coach and some experience. So, I'll give the hire a B.
Okay.
The only reason why I don't want to give it to A, because it's nowhere in his resume that he's shown that he's came to a perennial losing program and been able to turn around. He doesn't show in his resume that he's a turnaround agent, which he might be. I don't know.
Well, Rocky, it tickles me because, I always know when Scotty's level of depth of age, because I knew he didn't know who Terrell Buckley was, because he you know, it always tickles me. He did an excellent interview. Shout out to Scotty with the excellent interview with T-Buck, but I could tell he didn't know who T-Buck was. So a person like me who watched them play, come to Florida State, saw him have those great battles with Michael Irvin and Jerry Rice. I mean, and those were battles with the Green Bay Packers and things. And
he meant something to the culture, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm happy for T-Buck, man. I know, you know, I met T-Buck when he was at Florida State. I used to see him, you know, when he was in the NFL and things like that. We're not friends or anything like that, but, you know.
Is he your contemporary?
Yeah, he came. T-Buck is a year younger than me. He played with Shane Matthews. They had a bomb squad my senior year down in Pascagoula. They were ranked in the USA top 25. They had a bomb squad. So it was a whole bunch of guys that went D1 off that squad. And he came over to Florida State. And what was so funny, I had a black sport pickup truck. And he said, "Hey, man, you from Mississippi, man? I ain't seen you, man." I said, "Yeah, bro." I said, "I've been here for a year." I said, where you going?" He said, "I'm coming to Florida State." I said, "Okay." So, man, then that boy came out to start returning them punts. And then that was it, man. So we see each other, you know, in Tallahassee all the time, you know, so, you know, how, you know, that Mississippi pride will come out and stuff like, man. So, you know, super excited to see what he does at Valley. And the thing about it, Coach, I think you said it best. He's giving them a little bit of that celebrity, but also he does have the coaching background and being from Mississippi, because not being funny, he's going to need to know how to recruit those players out of Mississippi to get them up the Valley. So that Gulf Coast got a lot, Moss Point, Pascagoula, Gulfport, Biloxi, a lot of football players down that area. A lot of football players. Yeah.
All right, keep it fam. Hey, keep it up, fam. Let's keep it short. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. With that being said, let's just say that this isn't a celebrity hire, because a celebrity hire is anybody from past generations to current generations who would know who the current coach is. So that would determine a celebrity hire. Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson are celebrity hires because the older generation know who they are and the newer generation know who they are. That being said, I'm gonna keep it short. People underestimate the value of determination when it comes to Black people and what will motivate them to get behind something. HBCUs versus casuals. We had this conversation. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, but I'm going to say this, and I'm going to leave it at this, and I'm going to end it here. Ed Reed and Ray Lewis as head coaches will motivate and galvanize more people when it comes to donation giving and fulfillment of purpose when it comes to building facilities and etc. versus any coach that they hire at HBCU levels that were from D2s. Any one of those two that I just named, and I'm gonna leave it at that, will have more people behind them versus anybody that they choose to hire. And I'm gonna lay my plan right there.
All right, thank keep it up, fam.
Hey, Rock, I gotta say, one thing I like about that brother right there, he's on that payroll, man. He is on that payroll. And listen, hey, so to Ed Reed and to Ray Lewis, give that brother a jersey. Because that brother has gone on very platforms, got his head knocked for his views, but he keep coming back. I like that. I keep coming back. Now, nobody's going to hire him.
My name is Danny Wilson, and I won $500 on the lunch break with A.J. Jones.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.